to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the September 8th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. My name is Shelley Bueller, and I have the privilege of serving as chair of the commission alongside my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Kevin Cook and Commissioner Bob Archer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, the first item, please.
First item is the proclamations, presentations. Presentation regarding the comprehensive plan project and the scope of work involved. Planning Department.
You can have one or the other, but not both.
There we go.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to come speak with the Board of County Commissioners this morning about the comprehensive plan that we are currently working with you on. My name is Thomas Dow with RDG Planning and Design, and I'm really excited to be partnering with the county on this exciting opportunity to develop the comprehensive plan to help shape the future of the county over the next 20 or 30 years. I'd like to begin by talking a little bit about the opportunity, the planning context, what we see as a balanced planning opportunity in the county, and the approach we're going to take. First, I think that there are three different aspects to the planning process that we like to share with our client communities. One, there is a practical aspect to planning. We believe that it provides the long-term big picture guidance to the Board of County Commissioners, to the Planning Commission, and to the county staff as well. When you're making choices about where to invest public dollars in public improvements and when you're making private development decisions. More importantly, though, is there's an aspirational component to the planning process, and that's where you guys basically decide what's important to you for the future of the county. And then ultimately, we think there's an inspirational focus that we need to be aware of, and that's how land use, economic development, natural resources, and transportation and infrastructure all fit together to interact with each other to shape the county's future. And I should mention, too, that those are the four themes that we've identified so far by talking with each of the three of you, with some of the planning commissioners, with the steering committee as well. There is a planning context that goes on. We don't just come in here and develop a comprehensive plan for you. We want to make sure we really understand the community as it exists and what you're looking for. We want to tailor the process to what your needs are rather than giving you what we think you should have. I think I had a conversation with Commissioner Bueller a couple of months ago, and you mentioned that there were, I think, 50 or 51 separate taxing jurisdictions within Shawnee County. Each of those making decisions that ultimately help shape where the county is going in the future. And it's important to have an ongoing dialogue with each of them. And I'll talk in a few minutes about what we're going to do to communicate with each of them next week. Also, each of those taxing jurisdictions have public budgets that are adopted through a public process and guides how they're going to invest funds in the community for the betterment of the future and the residents that live in the county as well. There is a policy history. One of the things that I've talked about quite a bit with your planning director, Barry Beagle, is the policy of, if you only have 200 feet of frontage and 3 acres, you can develop on a paved road within the county without going through a formal subdivision process. And that's an issue that we've heard a lot from the steering committee and from all three of you as well. And there's other policies that help define where we got to this point as well. And we'll be taking a look at those in addition to that. And then finally, ultimately, we need to have public support for the comprehensive plan that's adopted. We want to make sure that this plan is implemented, and we are committed to helping guide you through that process. We're not going to just deliver a plan that's in a 3-ring binder, hand it to you and say good luck. We're actually going to make sure that you move forward into implementation and that you have the public support to do that. Balanced planning, I already mentioned the 4 topics that have come up that seem to be the emerging themes for the county, and those are taking a look at the future land use, economic development, natural resources, and transportation and infrastructure, and seeing how those fit together is going to be a very interesting process as we move forward. So what's our approach? We really believe that having a robust public engagement process is critical to the development of the comprehensive plan. And I'm going to talk about several of the steps that are coming up here in next week, as a matter of fact, and over the next month or so. I'm going to show you a slide that lays out what the schedule for the development of the plan is, and then talk about what's next. So we come in here, we want to make sure that we are aware of what is important to the county commission, to the planning commission, to the public as a whole. We're going to get significant public input from a variety of groups. We want to have input and feedback from the Board of County Commissioners and from the Planning Commission, since you guys are the ones that are ultimately making the day-to-day decisions. And we also want to help you articulate a vision for the future of the county. And ultimately, when we do deliver the final planning product, we want to make sure that you guys have ownership and you are invested in that plan, so we can move forward into the implementation steps as well. We did start this process about 2 months ago. We were selected, and we have had several activities have already occurred. We did a tour with each of the county commissioners within their commission districts, one at a time, so you guys could share with us what you thought was important in each of your districts. We did that as well with several of the county department heads, and I think that really gave us a good amount of baseline information as to where things currently are and where you guys see we are headed. We have talked about that with the steering committee as well over the last 2 months, and we've heard some very similar things from that group as well. And as you guys recall, you appointed 22 members from the steering committee, and several of the members are here with us this morning, and I really appreciate them taking additional time to come be here with us this morning. I know that sometimes every hour you commit to these processes is an hour you're not doing something else, so I think that shows the level of enthusiasm we have at this point already. And I don't want to read all of the items on here, but we are going to have several public engagement activities next week, and I'll talk about those specifically at the very end of the presentation. We have also shared with the Board of County Commission, the Planning Commission, and the Steering Committee a survey that we use SurveyMonkey for, and we asked a whole series of questions, and then we asked each of those 3 groups to forward that survey to other members of the community that they knew of, and they thought would be interested. And so far we've received over 200 responses, and that's without going out and really marketing the survey at this point, which we will begin next week doing actively. And towards the end of this, I will give you a snapshot view of where we stand, though, but it's not a finalized thing. So we did ask a series of questions in terms of how do you feel about transportation and infrastructure within the county? And what we found is, people are very satisfied with the electrical system, with the rural water distribution system, with their access to I-70. The blue bars indicate, it's either excellent, very good, average, and then the yellow and red is, poor or very poor. And you can see there's more positive energy on most of these and relatively less negative energy on them. I think where the most negative energy comes in, or people are concerned about the lack of sidewalks and pedestrian mobility and the lack of bicycle facilities on some of the county roads and some of the state highways. Pertaining to the economy, people think that Silver Lake and Rossville and the rural farm economy are doing really well, and the city of Auburn's doing pretty well. But where they think that there's some concerns are the ability to retain young people, support services for new farmers, and the strength of Willard, which I think was kind of interesting that 3 of the cities people think are doing really well in terms of the economy, and then 1 city they think is struggling a little bit more. So I don't think that anything on this is too much of a surprise. It's pretty consistent with what we've been hearing from other sources as well. In terms of housing, people feel pretty comfortable about the cost of housing relative to incomes in the county. They also feel like, there's the availability of housing within the county is pretty good too. So is the housing quality, but a little bit more concerned about the availability of housing for young families and for seniors. When it comes to natural resources within the county, there's a lot of excitement about Lake Shawnee. What we've heard is that's really the crown jewel for the county, and people just are really thrilled to have that as a feature that they have access to. Being someone who lives just to the east in Lawrence, I was a little bit surprised that the Clinton Lake Wildlife Refuge, that is in Shawnee County partially, received as much positive views. I was under the assumption that more people would think that is more of a Douglas County Lawrence feature, but there does seem to be a lot of interest from people in Shawnee County as well, which I think is great, because I think that could be an opportunity to maybe further develop that asset for the county as well. The regional parks and recreation areas within the county, people are thrilled with that as well. And we've had some discussion about the natural features and, do the Flint Hills actually extend into Shawnee County? Some of the maps prepared by the Kansas Geological Survey say no, it starts just to the west in Wabaunsee County. But the Kansas Biological Survey has maps that show the Flint Hills do come into Shawnee County. And I think given the emphasis that the state is currently placing on the Flint Hills as a potential for tourism, I think it certainly behooves us as a county to promote that, as Topeka and Shawnee County being one of the gateway communities to the Flint Hills, and possibly as features to be preserved as we move forward. On the more negative side, people are a little bit concerned about the access to the Kansas River and the Wakarusa River in terms of recreation opportunities, and they specifically talked about trail development and boat access being something that could be improved. County government services, this is something that we typically ask on all the surveys that we do, and the results are pretty much the same. When you ask a general question about people's concerns about the level of taxation in the community, they typically rate that a little bit lower than the services that are provided. And I think you can see that people are very happy with the public safety systems, the sheriff and the fire departments within the county, medical services, county government, those are all rated really well. So I think that's a good thing. Image, people are very happy with the overall quality of life that we have here in Shawnee County. People also think that Shawnee County is very open and welcoming to new residents, and that the quality of new development is maybe not quite as high as people would like, but it's also not as bad as we've seen in other communities when we've done this type of survey. So what do people think are Shawnee County's 3 greatest assets? The schools by far, 58% of the people that have responded so far said the schools in this county are just fantastic and they love them. The location in northeast Kansas is important, the proximity to Kansas City, to Lawrence and Topeka. This is really the part of the state that's the economic engine for the state, and I think people appreciate that. Your parks and recreation system, a third of the people are saying that is an outstanding asset as well. So what was not identified, the rural, commercial, and industrial economy, the agricultural economy, which is a little bit surprising to me, and the regional transportation network. I think sometimes people tend to take some of these things for granted that we have, that if we see it every day, it doesn't necessarily stand out. I think Shawnee County does have an outstanding regional transportation network. We've got several interstate highways going through the county as well. So what are the most important issues facing Shawnee County in the next 10 years? People are very concerned about the county's ability to retain young people. Again, I think this is a national trend. People are concerned about the level of taxation and what they get for the taxes that they have to pay. The ability to attract new industries and the vision for the future, which I think is interesting. We're here talking about developing a comprehensive plan, and one of the things that people want to have is articulated as a vision for the future as well. So in terms of what's next, we do have focus group meetings coming up on September 14th. Those are scheduled for all day. We're going to be meeting with a whole bunch of different organizations throughout the day, including utility providers, mineral resource extraction, businesses, the various economic development organizations within the county, agricultural interests, and environmental, historic, and tourism interests. On both the 14th and the 15th, we're going to have a government stakeholder summit where we're inviting all of those taxing jurisdictions to come in and talk with us as a group and with each other. And we've also invited the Potawatomi Nation to that as well. And they obviously are a sovereign entity with the same rights as the federal government, and we really appreciate their participation in the planning for Shawnee County. We will be meeting with the Planning Commission on September 12th at 6 p.m. That is a public meeting. Everybody's welcome to attend, and we would certainly encourage members of the public to come out and see the same presentation again that we're doing today. And what we're tentatively proposing is doing a community roundtable, which will be the first set of public meetings that we're going to do with the general public. And we're proposing around October 11th, that week, to do it. We need to finalize that with Barry and make sure that the county commission and the planning commission don't have conflicts that would make that date unworkable. But that's the week we would like to have. And what we'll do is we will sit down with the members of the public that come out and join us around roundtables, and we'll have some brainstorming exercises going on because we really want to hear what they have to say, because we cannot be successful in the development of the comprehensive plan without their input. And at the end of the day, our goal is to develop a finished planning product that Shawnee County will use to shape its future and to reach its full potential. And the way we do that, our firm's philosophy is we want to create meaning together. Creating in this context is developing the comprehensive plan, but we really want it to be a meaningful exercise for everybody, the county commission, the planning commission, all the other local government jurisdictions, and the general public. And the way we do that is together through that robust public engagement process that I spoke briefly about. So I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you a real high-level overview of the planning process that we're just embarking on now. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this point.
Thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome.
Other questions from the commission? Commissioner Kirk?
Thank you. Thomas, if you could, just for the brief, other work that RDG is doing in the Shawnee County.
Oh, yes. We are also working with the Metropolitan Topeka Planning Organization, and we're developing the regional transportation plan update basically concurrently with this process. And so there really are some efficiencies that can be attained through that. We're currently updating the regional travel demand model. That does not cover all of Shawnee County, but it covers much of Shawnee County, including the unincorporated areas surrounding the city of Topeka, all the way out to Auburn. So we'll be able to get some good traffic information from that process as well.
And you have a survey as part of that process as well?
There was a survey as part of that as well, and I think we received about 500 responses from that survey so far. And we will repeat both, or we will do a second survey both for unincorporated Shawnee County for the comprehensive plan at the end of the process, and we'll do a second survey for the regional transportation plan process as well.
And how might we have some efficiencies with these two?
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's great. I mean, that's really a great question. I mean, obviously, the regional travel demand model will provide us useful information that will help the Public Works Department determine, where some additional capacity projects might be needed in the county as the county continues to grow. We also are trying to coordinate the public engagement activities a little bit and share information back and forth, so we're not spending money twice in each process. But whatever we learn in one process, we're trying to share with the other process as well. And I think that's the key thing, is we're really emphasizing public engagement in both, and that's one of the major cost components is getting the public engaged in this.
Thank you.
Good. Thomas, where's the website link for the survey, or the link for the survey, or is it on the?
I wish I could answer that. I know we can jump to it through the planning department's page,
on their webpage.
but I couldn't tell you the exact URL. Maybe Barry could answer that.
But it's on
for
the
us.
planning department.
Or it could be on is it on the county's homepage, Barry?
think it was within the memo that was.
I'm just thinking for those who are watching.
Yes. Well, we'd love to have people fill out the survey, and when we meet with the different stakeholder agencies next week, we are going to be asking them to help us promote the survey as well. So we're meeting with a bunch of groups next week. We're going to ask them to share the survey with their members as well. So there's plenty of time for the general public to complete the survey as well.
And I know Stephanie always watches our meetings. She's up there somewhere. But it might be good, Pat, if we add this as a feature to our front page so that we can drive that
Sure.
traffic to the survey a little bit more. So just a suggestion.
Right, and if some members of the public don't have access to the internet, we can make paper copies of the survey available too if they contact us.
Okay, good to know. Commissioner Archer?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we've had some correspondence about the survey and it not being statistically valid.
Yes.
Would you please address that?
We are using SurveyMonkey, which is just a free platform that anybody can use when they want to do a survey to contact people. We're promoting it through the county's website and through our contact with other individuals. I think that there is value in doing that type of survey for several reasons. One, it is a much lower cost than doing a statistically valid survey. It could end up costing us $20,000, $30,000 to do a statistically valid survey, depending on the number of people and the amount of error that the county commission would be willing to accept. And what we found is using SurveyMonkey really gives us very similar results to a statistically valid survey. We tend to hear the same types of things. And I think that sometimes we get a little too hung up on the statistically valid surveys. We're right in the midst of the presidential election season, and we see that, plus or minus 4%, and who knows what the outcome of the election is going to be. So I think the idea is to get input from the public, and we want to touch as many people out in the county as we can, and we want to have a high-quality input from them, and that's why we allow them to have written comments at the end of the survey, too, anything they want to share with us.
Well, as somebody that's taught probability and statistics, I don't think you can overlook statistically valid surveys. Do you know how many surveys were started but weren't complete? And the reason I ask that is I took the survey, and it took almost half an hour.
Yes,
It has like 75 different questions, and it's been my experience that I go through questionnaires, and at some point you say, hey, this is taking too much of my time. And I think what happens when you do that is that the only people that will complete a survey like that are somebody that really feels strongly about an issue one way or another.
Right.
Do you believe that? Is that what your experience has been?
I think that what we found is most of the people, in this slide that I have up here shows that we did have 217 people as of the date this slide was made did start the survey, and 162 people did answer every single question. Now, most of the questions that weren't answered were the ones pertaining to demographics. Like we asked, what income group is your household in? Are you making over 100,000 or, under 20,000 or whatever the breakouts were for that? We asked people, if they were willing to share their, racial and ethnic composition too, so we could, decide, so we could determine if the answers varied among those different demographic profiles. And some people just aren't willing to share that kind of information. But in terms of the substantive questions, most of those questions were answered by most people.
But the people, 217 that started, only 162 did complete responses.
Right, they answered all the questions, including the demographic questions at the end.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'd like to take this opportunity, though, to thank the committee members. I see Eric Johnson and Judy Moeller and Jim Kaup and Honest Lemon. Did I miss anyone? Oh, and John Floyd. Yes. Thank you, John Knight. So 5 members of the committee. It is a rather large committee, but as Judy said, go team. So
Well, it's been great.
It has been a
The
good
steering
experience.
committee has had a lot of enthusiasm so
And they
far,
have.
which is really appreciated. They also have displayed a great deal of consensus within the group so far. There's a lot of similarity in terms of the viewpoints, despite the fact that I think you guys did a really good job appointing, a very diverse set of interests from throughout the county. So I think that there is a lot of alignment as to what people perceive as the issues in the county, and I think that'll really help us as we move forward. And I think what we've heard from the steering committee so far is very similar to what we've heard from the three of you so far as well, which I think is great.
Okay, so a busy week next week.
Okay.
Definitely. So
Thank you.
Thank you for
Appreciate
the update.
I'm not sure how to shut it.
Item 2, unfinished business. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-259-2016 with Brown Super Service for towing services from September 1st, 2016 to September 1st, 2017 at a cost of $1,050 per month. Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Captain Hubler. The Sheriff's Office went out for bid for towing services for the Sheriff's Office when we call and ask for a tow truck, whether it's for our own vehicles or a vehicle that we need moved on our accord. Brown's was the low bidder, and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Captain. Other questions? Or a motion?
Move to approve the contract.
It's a motion by Commissioner Archer,
Second.
second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Are there questions on the consent agenda? There are 5 items.
Madam Chair, I'd move for approval of the consent items as presented.
It's a motion by Commissioner Cook,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Madam Chair, this morning we have one voucher report dated September 7th, 2016. Total amount of the vouchers, $1,418,516.39. Significant items on the voucher report include bridge project for $165,000, equipment fund of $252,000, holding accounts $188,000, and health insurance for $358,000. I've reviewed the vouchers and I have no additional questions, so I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you. It's a motion by Commissioner Archer,
Second.
second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item B, District Court. Number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2016-61, authorizing the issuance of a credit card for official business to Don Huddleston with a credit limit of $3,000.
Good morning, Charles Heidevis, District Court. We're asking that the Commissioners issue a credit card, a purchasing card to Don Huddleston, our new drug court coordinator. It should be noted that the previous individual in that position had one as well, but when they left, they tendered in their credit card, so we'd like to have a new one issued to the current incumbent.
Thank you. And they've signed the sheet that says stating all the personnel rules and regulations. Are there questions on the motion?
I would move for approval. Also, good luck to Don.
Motion by Commissioner Cook.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Item C, Kansas Expo Center. Number 1, consider approval of the following requests for capital expenditures in a total amount of $31,523.89. A, replacement of 3 talk-through intercoms in the box office with 4 units to have 1 spare at a cost of $3,223.89. B, repair to the curb and sidewalk surrounding Landon Arena at a cost of $22,800. C, emergency repair and freon replacement for the ice plant at a cost of $5,500.
Good morning, Commissioners. Hans Niska, Director of Operations at the Kansas Expo Center. Yes, these 3 items obviously are different. One is a replacement of 3 of our intercoms for our box office. They are manufactured by Norcon, and we did get a quote from Norcon for the amount on the memo. Second item, it also includes a fourth unit as it mentions on the memo, so it would be a spare for repairs in the future. Item B is not complete repairs to our sidewalk around Landon Arena, but as all of you are aware, we do have some decaying sidewalks and curb around Landon Arena. We have identified one of the areas as priority one that we would like to get started on repairing this fall. I have attached to the memo for the agenda, I had attached some pictures for you guys all to see the area, identify the area, and also a list of contractors that were contacted for this project. Concrete contractors in Topeka and the surrounding areas are extremely busy this year and very behind because of the wet spring. I was able to obtain 2 bids now. Actually, the memo said 1, but I did get a second bid in before this meeting, so I did hand it to you. The low bidder for this project and a very well-respected concrete contractor in the area, Joe Shiners, came in low at $22,800 for all the areas that I identified. I did want to note also that he has done some work in our area. Capital Plaza has used them, and they were very impressed with Joe Shiner as well, so they did recommend them. And then the third item on the request is an emergency repair we had to do to our ice plant when we fired it up this past week, well, actually over a week ago for our first sheet of ice. Compressor 1 had a freon leak in the drive shaft, and we did have to put 180 pounds of freon into the system, which is very expensive, getting very expensive now. The R22 freon is about $125 a pound now. So that's actually up to $25 a pound. I'm sorry, it was 180 pounds of R22, so it's up over $25 a pound. So that is the extent of the repairs. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't think I have any questions. I appreciate the pictures being attached. That was helpful.
Exactly.
Word decaying was nice.
Yeah, you're right.
It was the nicest word I could think of.
Yeah, I appreciate the documentation also, and I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure.
It's a motion by Commissioner Archer.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Item D, Sheriff's Office. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-260-2016 with Dream Team Cleaning, Inc. for janitorial services for the Sheriff's Office and the Consolidated Emergency Communications Center.
Good morning again, Commissioners. The Sheriff's Office went out for bid for janitorial services for the Law Enforcement Center, which includes the dispatch as well. And Dream Team Cleaning was the low bidder, and we'd like to move forward with their services. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
I would move for approval.
It's a motion by Commissioner Cook.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Item E, Public Works and Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of Resolution 2016-62, assessing delinquent sewer service fees to property taxes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Block with Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a Public Works item. And this is our annual assessment of those who are on sewer service as part of our system and have not paid their assessments. They've been given the opportunity to pay them, and as the date of this memo, this list that's attached is a list of those who had not paid yet, and therefore they would be fees would be assessed to their property taxes. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Any questions? I'll move to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item E2, consider sole source purchase of repair services from Foley Equipment to repair the rear control valve on a backhoe at a cost of $11,135.42.
Commissioner Tom Block, Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a Public Works item also. One of our Caterpillar backhoes had its rear control valve fail, and this is really an emergency sole source type of need, in which Foley is the only certified Caterpillar dealer in the region that can do this type of work for its hydraulic system in the boom. The cost to do that was $11,135.42. and the funding for this would come from Shawnee County's Equipment Maintenance Fund for repairs of this station. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Yes, sir.
I'll move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Cook,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item E3, consider awarding bid to Shawnee Mission Ford for the purchase of a half-ton pickup in an amount of $29,274 and a three-quarter-ton pickup truck in the amount of $35,553.
Commissioners, Tom Block again, Public Works Solid Waste. This is for Solid Waste Department. We went out for separate bids for these two different types of vehicles. Three vendors submitted bids. Both of the low bids were submitted by Shawnee Mission Ford. As Ms. Beck mentioned, the half-ton bid was for $29,274, and the three-quarter-ton pickup bid was for $35,553. And the funding of these purchases would come from the solid waste fund, and again, no tax fund will be used for this purchase, as solid waste department is a enterprise fund. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
That's done.
Move to approve.
It's a motion by Commissioner Archer.
I'll second, but I do just have one question. Tom, on this item and the next three, so 4 items total, do we have any vehicles that we're trading or equipment that we're trading in as part of this?
Yes, those we do. I guess I can't necessarily say, I guess I could look, but when we had the vehicles to trade in, those prices that are mentioned here include the trade-in amount.
Okay. And just to make sure that we clarify that that does include that.
Let's see, I was trying to think on this particular one that we traded in. On this particular one, it looks like we did not trade in for solid waste.
Okay. And that is the policy of the solid waste department, to trade in the vehicles where we can,
Correct.
and rather than outsourcing them and putting them on Purple Wave or selling them or surplusing them.
For the most part, I would say yes. It all depends. If we think we can get a better return by going Purple Wave, we will do that. If we don't, then we will put them to trade in.
Okay. Thank you. And again, my second.
It's a motion by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item E4, consider awarding bid to Shawnee Mission Ford for the purchase of 2 new one-ton pickup trucks with appurtenances in the total amount of $92,570.
Commissioners, Tom Buck again, Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a Public Works item, and as mentioned, we went out for bid for 2 one-ton pickups that we also utilize as snow plows for like roundabouts and some parking areas. Again, we had 3 bidders on this one. That's before Shawnee Mission Ford with the low bidder. And the total amount, and this one did include, we traded in 2 vehicles on this particular bid. The total amount, less the trade-ins, was $92,570. Funding for this would come from the Shawnee County Department of Public Works Special Machinery Fund, which had been previously given approval to use this fund for some capital purchases from the commission several weeks ago. So if there's any questions regarding this, we'd recommend that the award go to Shawnee Mission Ford.
Other questions?
I would move for approval.
It's a motion by Commissioner Cook,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item E5, consider awarding bid to Shawnee Mission Ford for the purchase of a new three-quarter-ton pickup truck and appurtenances in an amount of $45,621.
Commissioners, Tom Block again. This is a Public Works item, and another vehicle that we went out for bid. We did receive 3 bids. There was 1 bid provided that we determined was non-responsive. They had some add-ons of some required components that they did not put into their bid price. They said it would be additional. And then also there was some warranty information that they did not provide. So it was our determination that the best bid meeting the specifications was submitted by Shawnee Mission Ford in the amount of $45,621, and it's our recommendation that the award be be granted to Shawnee Mission Ford. Oh, and the funding for this would also come from the Special Machinery Fund, from Public Works.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions? Any questions at all?
I'll move for approval.
There's a motion by Commissioner Cook,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item E6, consider awarding bid to Midway Freightliner for the purchase of 2 new dump trucks and appurtenances in the amount of $254,098.
Commissioners, Tom Block, once again, Public Works and Solid Waste. This is the Public Works item. And this particular bid was for 2 new dump trucks with appurtenances for snow plowing and de-icing. We had, let's see, I think we had 5 bidders, I believe that what it says. Yeah, 5 different vendors submitted bids. Some submitted multiple bids. This one did include trade-ins. And so as our recommendation, the lowest bid meeting specifications was submitted by Midway Freightliner for the amount of $254,098. This particular purchase, the funding for it would be split between the remainder that we had from the capital equipment allotment that the commission had granted to Public Works, a $300,000 allotment. Of that, we had $129,329 remaining from previous purchases. So we would use that amount for partial payment of this, and the remainder of that would come from our special machinery fund. So it's our recommendation that the award be granted to Midway.
Thank you. Questions? Commissioner Archer?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase. But I would note that we're spending a lot of money, but the public expects us to have safe roads. They expect snow to be cleared, and that we take care of our roads, and that's what we're doing. We're investing to do that. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. I just might note too that we are on a rotation to purchase.
Right.
This isn't just all the equipment, but on a rotation to purchase.
And it just so happened that I had a whole day with nothing on my calendar, so I was able to get all these on. It's amazing what can get done when our calendar's free.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Item E7, consider awarding bid to Buildex Inc. for the purchase and delivery of 6,500 cubic yards of haydite lightweight aggregate material for the 2017 construction season in a total amount of $312,650.
Commissioners, Tom Block again, Public Works and Solid Waste. This too is a Public Works item. As you may recall, several weeks ago, it mentioned that in preparation for next year in our ability to maintain our roads with our chip seal, we felt it was pretty imperative to go out for bids for this lightweight aggregate, also known as haydite material. Now, because of the limited amount of manufacturing facilities that manufacture this type of equipment and produce this type of equipment, so we went out for bid, and Buildex, who is really the only regional supplier in the area, was the only one that submitted a bid this year. We've used them ever since we've been using this material. Their bid was for $312,650, which is pretty much in line with where we've been getting it in years past. And the funding for this will actually come in the delivery of the material, and the funding would then come from next year's 2017 Public Works road maintenance budget. This will lock us in to get the material. We waited much longer. I think their ability to supply it would be greatly diminished. So we wanted to get ourselves in line to get the material. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
All right, thank you. A motion? I'll make approval of the request. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Item F, Information Technology, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-261-2016 with Software House International for annual maintenance of the Shawnee County Barracuda email spam filter in the amount of $2,020.
Morning, Commissioners. Pat O'Bling of the Information Technology Department. This is the annual maintenance for the spam filter that we use to protect Shawnee County's employees from malicious attacks through the email system. Pretty important system. We do want to make sure that it's provisioned appropriately, and this maintenance agreement will ensure that updates are applied and virus definitions are upgraded on an hourly basis and continue protecting us from the bad guys. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thanks, Brett. I don't have any questions.
I move for approval.
It's a motion by Commissioner Cook,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item G, Administrative Services. Number 1, consider approval to award bid for audit services to RSM US LLC for 3 years.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. We came to you at a prior meeting and received prior approval to issue an RFP for the audit services for the county. Those that sign the annual management representation letter on that, we all met to discuss the different proposals that we received and to make a recommendation. That group included the county clerk, the county counselor, county treasurer, and the director of the health department. And so we're coming to you now with our recommendation to award this bid. It will be for a 3-year term with 2 one-year extensions possible. We are recommending that you award the bid to RSM US LLC. The committee, one of the things we really looked at, we placed a high importance on auditor independence, objectivity, and professional skepticism. It was felt that a periodic change in auditors would facilitate new thinking on processes and policies and a fresh effort to ensure the audit is as effective as possible. Now, this is, we do not have any complaints with any of our prior auditors. That is not the, what we're saying here. It's just that we think that sometimes some fresh eyes and a fresh perspective is a good thing on a periodic basis. One of the few of the things that we really, that I wanted to bring to your attention on the proposal by RSM is that they would, of course, do the standard audit procedures, but that would include the analytical procedures that look at consistencies and inconsistencies. They also have resources and tools for their clients that include some accounting research tools that we could use. They have live seminars and webinars that we could access. And then also they have leadership white papers that we can also have access to those. They would communicate with us throughout the year if we have accounting issues that arise, so that we're not waiting till the end of the year to address those. We can address those issues as they arise and talk to them about those. And then also they went into detail on their pre-planning as the first step for the audit process, and that would identify the lines of communications, the risk analysis, discuss the scope of the audit, and then any concerns and expectations. So those are kind of the items that we discussed in our committee meeting that we thought were items that really brought this firm to the top of the list. After the bid is awarded, then we will negotiate with the audit firm an engagement letter, and that will be brought back to you for approval of the engagement letter at a future meeting. So I ask for your approval of RSM as our auditor.
Thank you, Betty. Thanks for the explanation. Commissioner Archer?
Yeah, I'll move to approve and note that I think it is good to have a fresh set of eyes on our books every now and then. I remember the term professional skepticism from audit class many years ago, and I've always liked it and believed that it's always good to be professionally skeptical of pretty much any item that you look at. So move to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second, and also noting I thought professional skeptic was in Commissioner Archer's title.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's a motion by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0. And thank you to everyone who helped reach that decision, so thank you. Clerk and the treasurer and health agency and the council. Thank you. Health department.
Item H, Commission. Number 1, consider approval of request from Emergency Management to use the courthouse on the evening of Wednesday, November 16th, 2016, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. for an exercise involving Shawnee County SWAT and actors.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dustin Nichols, Emergency Management, and that pretty much sums it up.
Okay. Pretty much. I'll move approval.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols again, Emergency Management. September is National Preparedness Month, and there's a couple of items that I just want to bring to your attention that are going on this weekend at the zoo. The St. Francis Wild About Wellness Fair is going on from 9 till 1. It's a $5 entry for and kids under 5 are free. Inside there's a lot of booths, a bounce house, and some fun stuff for kids, but a lot of good information about preparedness and wellness. In the afternoon, from I believe it's 1 to 4 o'clock, is the Emergency Services Showcase over at the Expo Center. This is the 10th annual. This started out by a young lady named Jody Sturgeon. Actually, her daughter, Casey Sturgeon, started it when she was 6, and she wanted to bring together emergency services personnel in their gear so little children weren't afraid of them. So this is kind of the touch a truck kind of vibe. Bring your kids out and do some preparedness. We will be supporting both along with Shawnee County Sheriff and the health agency as well, health department. So thank you for your attention.
Good deal. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. Major Jason Mecca, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. I would just like to make a note on the exercise that's going to occur in November that you approved. I do appreciate Director Nichols and his staff facilitating that effort, and also our very own Corporal Aaron Mahan, who is the subject matter expert for incident command systems within the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. We're going to use this event to build our force, and the training value is exponential, and it's just a great opportunity. I want to invite you all to attend if you don't have anything to do that night, and you could actually participate. So, and it's in a safe manner.
Yes,
We'll make that note. And then on another note, I'd be remiss if I didn't offer my apologies for the commission meeting last Thursday. I realized there was some unfinished business that needed to be tended to today, and that is incumbent upon me also to attend that meeting, and something suddenly came up, as Marcia Brady would say. I kind of feel like Joaquin Sawyer right now, facing the Royals management, but anyway, I respect you, I respect your time. There was no disrespect intended. It was simply on me, so my apology.
Thank you. Anyone else with administrative communications?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Shabon, Kansas Expo Center, beside the Emergency Services Showcase this Saturday. We also have the Great Plains Hunter Jumper Show, which brings in actually kids for a equestrian event from 3 states, almost 100 stalls. And then next week's our 4th, but not final, 3rd Thursday, Taco Thursday, with the Hector Anchado Band performing. So, continue to move on. Thank you.
Good deal. Thanks, sir. Anyone else? Commissioner Cook?
Just noting condolences to the family of Merle Blair and his passing. He was a great community leader for more than 60 years on radio, but also as the head of the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce, and his leadership in the future of the community, and he'll be greatly missed.
Thank you. Commissioner Archer?
Exactly. Third Thursday. You're bringing it up, Jeff. Good. Tomorrow is Grandparents' Day at Indian Hills Elementary School. I look forward to attending, and as far as Auburn Washburn, I know the Junior Blues had a significant win last Friday night over Highland Park, and I think at least 2 of the commissioners have a personal interest in that occurring. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, let's go and beat Manhattan. So, right, Mr. Crowell? Yes. Thank you. Just a couple of things. At the Safe Streets meeting, actually, I'll start with this first. Topeka Public Schools had their foundation breakfast, and their foundation had the breakfast, and they, the new superintendent gave a speech. If you have not listened to her, she has tons of energy. So very excited about the awesome things that are going to be taking place at Topeka Public Schools. At Safe Streets, we had a presentation about gangs, and then also the Sheriff's Office had another presentation on their fugitive task force, I believe. A lot of good information was shared there. And then this morning, seems to be the week for 7:30 meetings, so breakfast, but Kansas Children's Service League had their breakfast this morning as well. And just a lot of great activities going on. It keeps the hotels busy. It keeps everybody busy. I think I had lunch or breakfast with somebody that I'm having lunch with. So anyway, it's good to get out into the community and see all that's happening. We have a lot of dedicated people in this town, in this whole entire county. So, and then tomorrow morning, 7:30, Heartland Visioning. So it continues.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I don't know where John Knight went, but I'd be remiss. This weekend, I think there might be an event occurring in Topeka, Shawnee County, at the Crown Jewel, Lake Shawnee.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. I assume you're talking about the education on that the Bigger family is putting on for the volunteers at the Old Prairie Town?
Right.
There are three big things going on. That is one of those. The Bigger family has for years they've developed many different varieties of flowers, and they're passing that on, and that ought to be a big turnout for all of our garden enthusiasts. But even more attendance will probably be expected at both the Great Topeka Duck Race and the Huff and Puff Hot Air Balloon Rally that'll be held this weekend. The weather's supposed to be nice while these events are going on, and the rain the rest of the weekend, so come on out.
Yes, jinx it. All right. Anything else? No? Okay. Next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
Is there a need? No, we are adjourned. Thank you.